It's the Saturday his game when it was a very disappointing loss. And the thing about it is whenever you take the field, you want to make sure that we're prepared to go play, and it falls on me as a head coach that didn't happen. And I was telling our players yesterday when we met, I said, I want you guys to watch this film, and it's all about executing. It's all about us playing with confidence, but it's about just being consistent, and that's what we haven't. Each and every week we've always found a way to come out and win the game, and don't always expect that's going to happen for you because even when you fall behind, we still got to battle back. There were so many key points and so many key plays in that game, and we just was never we were never able to come back and make a play for ourselves. And I told him, I said, it's not like we had to sit back. Okay, we didn't have some players that weren't playing, or we had some players that didn't make plays, but everybody has a job to do, and just do your job. But we know this is going to be a big test for us this week, and going to Cincinnati, we're on the road again. But the thing about us is we just got to get back on track, and that's not hard for us to do.
You mentioned that you saw on Thursday that you could see the Tulane loss coming. What did you do specifically after you saw the trouble coming?
Well, you just got to call them up, and you got to just talk to them and talk to them in a way that they understand that this is not acceptable, and we got to be better prepared. And you only get 12 opportunities, and don't ever think that we're good enough to overlook anyone, because we're not good enough to overlook anyone. Whomever we play, whomever's on our schedule, we can be beaten. And then so what happened, when you don't play your best, you're going to get beat, and that's what happened to us.
What do you have to do to get the defense back on track?
Well, the first thing we need to do is play physical and stop the run. We're not separating off blocks, and the defense is a fundamental just technique where we're not winning one-on-one battles. And we went back and looked at last year. We was watching today. Was watching Cincinnati and watched some of last year's game, and you had guys like Cincinnati and Bruce and those guys that could get off blocks. And we got to do a better job where guys could win one-on-one blocks, and we're not doing it then. And we're not making anyone one-dimensional. Now, Saturday they ran the ball well, but even when they did throw it, they were guys open. So you got to take away something, and we haven't taken away anything.
Do you think that now, looking back, that the loss of the players that you had, like Abraham and Nichols and Sanat and Hector and Augie, that has created more of a void than you originally thought it might have at the beginning of the year, particularly in terms of leadership?
Well, the thing that happened is losing those guys. What happened to that group of guys? They played, and some of them were 4-year starters, 3-year starters. And you look, and not that I'm making excuses. I would never ever make an excuse, because that's not it's our job as a coach to coach what we have. But when you lose, you take a guy like Augie. Augie was an all-time leading tackler, and he was a staple in the middle for so long. And then you look up front, you had Love, you had Bruce, and you had Sanat. So the guys behind them didn't play as much because you had those guys who played so much. And even in the back end in the secondary now, you're going with a redshirt freshman and a couple of freshmen back there. But Abraham was a staple for you in the back end. Back there, forward played with Nichols. And you look at those guys, most of those guys are in training camps right now. So it's not – and a lot of times you got to build a foundation, and that's what we haven't been able to do here over the years. We have not really built a foundation. And when you look at other programs, you lose a guy, you replace a guy, but that guy's been there, and he's been in your program for so long. So when you're trying to develop a winning culture, that's you're going to have to – when you have the turnover, you got to make sure that there's guys in place. So now when you roll your team out to next year, okay, these guys are all ready to go. You think about us and you look at us on offense, you go, Q was there for so long. And then you had 2 running backs with Tyson DeErnest, who had been staple for you for so long. And then you look at Ruff at center. So now you start a transfer quarterback, a transfer running back, a receiver 8 who's been there, but St. Felix being a redshirt freshman. But so it's now you're putting guys into your program where you haven't had much of a voice because those voices have left. And even though it was Q and it was Augie, you know, Dietrich was a big part of it. Mike Love was a big part of it. Cameron Ruff, he was a big part of it. So you always had that. But and like I said, I'm not looking for excuses, but you need, like now you look at us and you're trying to find that because those guys never had to talk. I mean, they just kind of sat there. I can remember when I took the job here and I went to the Birmingham Bowl, and I can remember Augie was a junior and Q was a junior, and we had some seniors on that team, and they did all the talking. And I was like, you know, I kind of stood back in the corner. I was like, you know, it's kind of different for juniors when you have seniors and those guys, and they're doing all the talking. And it was kind of different for me the first time to hear juniors talk like that and lead the team. But that's what we don't have that with this group because they never had to talk.
Do you think that this team maybe got a little complacent early on, winning all those games late, and thought, well, we can turn it on when we need to win these games because we do this all the time?
I don't know if it was complacency, but it was where you found a way to go win those games. And it was, and if you look at us right now, and I said to our coaches, we have yet to have a game where we have just went in and where our starters get a chance to rest the second half. I said every game for us have come down to the wire, and that we have to battle down to the wire. But you're going to have that because even if you start when you're playing from behind, it's going to take you late into the game to get called up, and that's what we had to do. You look at, you know, at Georgia Tech, you had to come back in the fourth quarter. You look at Illinois, we had to win it in the fourth quarter. You look at Tulsa, you had to win it in the fourth quarter. So you're sitting there, and it's been a battle, you know, from the start. So I don't think these guys, it's not complacency with them. It's just about consistency, about being consistent and just stand on pace where you can't let one bad play lead to another bad play. Once you have a good play, we got to continue and we got to look at our issues and get them corrected. Because you look at us in red zone offense, you know, we get the ball, we move the ball, and then we get in the red zone and we don't score. And we got to be able, you know, we get field goals, but you got to be able to get your touchdowns.
Do you think that you've been saying this all year, do you think they really understand the importance, maybe now that you've got to come out and start right from the first play, and that you can't just ease into this thing and figure we'll turn it on in the second half?
And that's what we can do, and that happens when you sit back and you take our first job Saturday. So we take the ball and we drive it, and we get 3 points, and then we don't sustain another drive until, you know, later on late in the game. And if we were a consistent team, then you would go come back and go drive the ball again, and then go drive the ball again, but it was almost like, you know, we were just waiting for someone else to make a play where, you know, offensively we're going to throw the ball over the top, which didn't happen, or, you know, Cronkite and Ford's going to make a break on a run, which didn't happen, and then defensively you can't. It's almost like every phase is waiting on the one phase, like, you know, the kicking game is waiting on the offense, or the defense is waiting on the kicking game. Everybody's waiting on a phase instead of, hey guys, just make a play and somebody, let's get going so we can get this thing, we can get off the right way.
Do you think there's something in the idea that, like you said, players may be waiting on somebody to make a play, whereas last year, guys like Sanchez and Q and those, they would just say, I've got to make the play myself. Because, you know, I'm not looking around for somebody else to do it.
Well, it was a total. Those guys had a total different mentality than this group of guys. And, I mean, you look at Q. Yeah, Q was going to do something. I mean, it's third down. Hey, I'm going to go get the first down. If a guy ain't open, I'm going to pull it, and I'm going to go move around, and it's going to be a first down. And even with the guys on defense, hey, we're going to go out here and stop the run. The ball goes up in the air. I'm trying to get a sack, coach. I'm trying to, you know, those guys. And when you have a team like we had last year, because it was such a senior-laden team, those guys are looking to get to the next level. So their play was going to be totally different because they knew, and hey, they knew that this is my last year. So hey, I want to get to the league. So how do I get to the league? I got to make plays. So my whole mentality has got to be a little different. then because I got to go out here, guys, and we got to get going.
Coach, do you feel like you've got seniors, veterans on this team with the personality to step up and assert themselves like Augie and like Dietrich and those guys did?
Well, Joey, it's tough because they've never had to do it. And so now, I mean, you figure that role when a lot of times when I become a senior, I had such a great junior year that when I roll into my senior year, and I always say this, seniors are just worrying about what's going to happen down the road for them, whereas my juniors, they want to win. So when I roll into my senior years, I had such a great junior year that I'm ready to go play. But if you look at the guys that we have now, I'm just trying to think of some of our seniors, like Mays is a senior, McCants is a senior. Those are your two seniors, and Bronson. So Bronson didn't even play last season. So McCants and Mays were the two. And then on defense, Jamon and Ronnie was a backup nickel. Jamon started some at safety. Your linebacker, Sawtell, but he's not a senior, he's a junior. But even the guys up front, I'm just trying to think, none of those guys, they played behind the three that I had. So it's so different when now all of a sudden you step into that role and you got to become that guy when you've never been that guy and you've never been that voice. So now all of a sudden, just say you're a senior and you're talking to me and I'm a junior, but you just starting for the first time and I'm looking and I'm a junior and I've played a lot, so I'm looking at you like, hey, we're equal. Whereas with that group last year, it was they knew who the guys were, and they knew who led the team, and they knew when these guys spoke, everybody's going to listen, and everybody else get out of the way. Because when Augie got up to speak, people listened. When Q got up to speak, even when Tice, when all those guys, D'Ernest, when all those guys spoke, everybody listened. So now when you get into the tight games or when you get into games where you know that you should go win, hey guys, hey, hey man, it's too much joking around going on. Let's go. We got to get going. It's time for us to get ready to go play.
2 weeks ago, you guys were undefeated. A week ago, you guys still controlled your own destiny. Is there any sense that the season's kind of slipping away from you guys?
No, you don't ever look at it like that because you still got to go play. You got 3 games to go play, and they're all conference games. So you don't ever think the season is getting away because you never know what's going to happen. All right, we lose. The SMU beats Houston. So you just never know because within this conference, teams, you can't really say that, teams are so much head and shoulder above other teams. When you catch them on any given day and anything can happen. So, and that's what I told our guys. I said, guys, we just keep playing. And that's the only thing, it's still November, and so much happened in November, and you never know what's going to happen. I was telling them a story when we were at Florida. We go play Arkansas in the SEC championship game. We were out of it. Then I think USC or somebody lost that night. We got in the championship. We never thought we were going to get in that game, and we were down. Then the guys hear that somebody had lost. I think we heard like around the halftime that the team had gotten beat that we were concerned about. Then we kind of turned it on because Arkansas was winning that game. So then you come back. So you just never know until the final whatever game it is that what's going to happen.
I imagine that's part of the messaging to a lot of the young guys on the team who had never been through a loss like Saturday. They might be shell-shocked right now. You can elaborate on what you and the staff are trying to do to help prop them up for what's a formidable end to the schedule here.
Well, but it's amazing. The young guys, like when you take this group of freshmen, they just want to play. I mean, they're so happy to be on the field, and the guys that is frustrating for right now are the seniors because they want to walk out here the right way and they want to end the season the right way. So it's really frustrating for them. But the freshmen, they're going to come out there and whatever opportunity they get to go play, they take full advantage of it. I look at the guys that we're playing right now. Like I look at us on offense. St. Felix has been down for a couple of weeks, but there's Johnny Ford's a true freshman that's playing really well for us. And then you look at our offensive line. You got Cecil at center, who's a true freshman. You got Jennings at tackle, who's a true freshman, and then you got Harris, who's a redshirt freshman. So you playing, and then on the defensive side, you look at Bentley Sanders, redshirt freshman. 24. Nick Roberts, with Blank. Nick is a redshirt freshman. He'll die when you hear that. And LaPointe is a redshirt freshman. And then Barber, he's starting as a true freshman. So you look and you're playing. We're playing a lot of, and like I said, I'm not making excuses because they're no longer freshmen anymore. We're 9 games into it, but you're playing a lot of young guys. And they're enjoying every opportunity they get.
Cincinnati, they've been smothering their opponents all
Yes.
season. So what are you looking at when you take a look particularly at their defense?
Very, very experienced defense, and they're similar to us last year. 3 out of the front 4 guys are seniors that played a lot of football. They took their defensive end and moved him to linebacker, and they put a lot of pressure. The front 7, they're really strong against the run. We're going to run the football. We're going to have to move people off the line of scrimmage. We're going to have to be physical and aggressive up front. But you look at that team, and like I said, they're like us. They've played a lot. They play together a lot, and they're going to bring pressure, and that's how they smother people. They keep, and that's what you want. I mean, you like to just bring pressure, play one high, and load the box, and make people throw the football to beat you. And that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna make us throw the ball because they want to smother you, so they want to make you one-dimensional, and they want to stop the run and make you beat them over the top with the ball.
Can you give us some injury updates? You had quite a few guys dinged up Saturday.
Yeah, we did. So we start with Wilcox. Wilcox should be back. St. Felix, we're hoping to get him back. Those are the major players, wasn't it? Sawtell is still day-to-day, so that's going to be the key one there. So he's still day-to-day.
I don't think Kegler played.
Kegler should be back. Kegler should be back. LaPointe is still nursing an injury. He's still day-to-day.
And Khalid was just a one-game thing.
He's just one game thing, so he'll be back. Didn't realize we had that many guys out.
They have Cincinnati has improved considerably defensively. Just from what you see, what's the big key for them defensively?
Just how aggressive they are right now on defense, and you see a unit that's playing together, and they are playing. They're a senior team just by the way they're playing. And like I said, 3 out of 4 guys up front are seniors, and even mixed sprinkled in the back end in the secondary. But they're very aggressive. They're going to put pressure on you. They're going to bring some type of pressure from some direction. So we got to be ready and be expecting that. But they get on you early, and they try to, just like they want to make sure it's all about disruption when you're on defense, and it's always about disrupting the rhythm. And they do a good job of disrupting the rhythm because offense is all rhythm. In offense, we try to create a rhythm. But if a defense can disrupt your rhythm, then they have a chance to stop you.